We start with some breaking news. The UK, Canada and Australia are formally recognising a Palestinian state. Pressure is growing on Israel to end the war in Gaza in the run-up to next week's United Nations General Assembly, despite strong opposition from Israel and the US. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said recognition would endanger Israel's existence and constitute an absurd reward for terrorism. More than 140 countries have already recognized a Palestinian state. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said their widely anticipated decision is aimed at reviving hopes of peace for Palestinians and Israelis.
In the face of the growing horror in the Middle East, we are acting to keep alive the possibility of peace and a two-state solution. That means a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state. At the moment, we have neither. Ordinary people, Israeli and Palestinian, deserve to live in peace, to try to rebuild their lives free from violence and suffering. That's what the British people desperately want to see.
And DW correspondent Charlotte Chelsom-Pill joins us now from London. Charlotte, what else did Starmer say?
Well, the key line being there, what you just heard, Prime Minister saying in a 6-minute video put out on social media that the government was taking this move now in the hope of keeping alive the possibility of peace and a two-state solution. Now, in this 6-minute video, the Prime Minister did address a lot of the criticism that has been levelled at this move head on. We know that criticism has come from Israel. Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, previously describing such a move as rewarding Hamas, rewarding the monstrous terrorism of, in his words, of October 7th. There's also been criticism from the United States as well. When President Donald Trump was here in the UK earlier this week on a state visit, he said this issue was one of the key differences between the administration in the US and the UK government as well. And we know, too, that there has been some criticism of this move from some of the families of the hostages. They have said that it, in a letter to the Prime Minister ahead of this, that it dramatically complicated efforts to bring our loved ones home. So criticism of this move, certainly, in some quarters. Addressing that, the Prime Minister did say that he'd met some of the families of hostages held by Hamas, and he sees the torture that they endure every day. I'm looking here at the statement he put out. He said the hostages must be released immediately. He also said that the call for a genuine two-state solution is the exact opposite of Hamas's hateful vision, stressing that he felt the solution is not a reward for Hamas. On the situation in Gaza, he also said that this death and destruction horrifies us every day. So a lengthy statement there setting out the UK's reasoning behind this move.
DW correspondent Charlotte Chelsom-Pill there. Thank you, Charlotte. We go straight to DW correspondent Tania Krämer in Jerusalem. Tania, how's Israel reacting to this?
Well, we're getting some reactions right now, but, you know, in the lead up to this, I mean, the Israeli government here and officials here have been fiercely opposed to this move. You heard Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu time and time again saying that he's opposed to the establishment of a Palestinian state. And he said this morning at the cabinet meeting, he said, you know, such a move would endanger the state of Israel and would be an absurd reward for Hamas for its attacks on October 7. He also said that the international community will hear more about Israel's response in the coming days. He's due to travel to New York to take part in the United Nations General Assembly and also then meets again with US President Donald Trump. But we had some other ministers already putting out some statements, not surprising, because what Charlotte just said was a very calibrated, statement, for example, by the Prime Minister Starmer, Starmer, but, this doesn't really sit well here. Whatever he had to say also about Hamas will have no game in all of this. But we heard here from the Minister for National Security, the far-right Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. He demands an immediate counter measure, meaning the annexation of the occupied West Bank, for example, and others have joined in there. So this has been discussed here in recent weeks. A decision we hear has not yet been taken, but these are the reactions that we are getting here from Israel.
And what about the Palestinian side? What are you hearing from them?
Well, we're still waiting for more official reactions, but we've been talking to Palestinian officials in recent days, and they said this was long overdue. This should have been done a long time ago, because this is a step basically to preserve the two-state solution. Now, nobody has this illusion that this will change anything on the ground right now, that this is, of course, first of all, a symbolic move, but it is an important move. And talking to Palestinians, to ordinary people, they actually said, we all know this is symbolic, but it's very important because it does recognize us as a Palestinian nation. It does recognize our existence. So for some, it's also very emotional. Some have also said they are also, a bit apprehensive, because it depends now, of course, on the measures that Israel would take, where the situation is already quite difficult, and they would say the threat of a full annexation would make life even more difficult, especially in the occupied West Bank.
Jerusalem correspondent Tania Krämer there. Thank you very much, Tania.